Happy morning, everyone. As Guy Kawasaki said, if you have to put someone on a pedestal, put teachers. They are society's heroes. Having that in mind, I, on behalf of our department, welcome our heroes, resource person, research scholars, and my fellow mates for the third day of the Faculty Development Program conducted by Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development along with PG Department of English, SDMB Vaishnav College. Today, we have Dr. Hemachandran Kara to enlighten us on the topic language and ability. Glad to have you here, sir. Now,
Thank you so
I
much.
request Ms. Naushin. Yes, sir. Now, I request Ms. Naushin, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, SDNB Vaishnav College, to introduce the resource person and welcome the gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello and welcome everyone. I'm thrilled to have you all here. Our speaker is a distinguished academician, intellectual, writer, and teacher. Dr. Hemachandran Kara, Assistant Professor at IIT Madras, has been researching on and is the authority of areas such as disability, medical humanities, literary criticism, life writing, and comparative musicology. With a doctoral research completed in Cambridge in the area of disability studies, Dr. Kara was previously a visiting associate fellow at CSPS Delhi. Teachers are Teachers are the seeds of a dramatic transformation towards responsible worldviews, and Dr. Kara's advocacy as a humanities scholar provides to such an objective. In addition to an exceptional number of national and international research publications in journals and books, he regularly contributes for newspapers and magazines. As part of his activism in developing a defined academic discussion in the areas of disability, health, and medicine, he has organized and participated in many workshops and conferences close to his admired fields of study and offers an online course on disability studies through an ETL platform. Here to talk about language and ability, let's welcome Dr. Hemachandran Kara. My hearty welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our man of letters, Dr. Hemachandran Kara, to nurture us on language and ability. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dakshara. Okay. Another 1.5 hours. You've given the mic to me. Thank you, all of you. And thank you, Kartika, for contacting me for a lovely opportunity. Am I audible enough? Am I breaking my voice and all that? Is it fine? Good?
Yes, sir, you're fine.
Okay, good. Well, this is Saturday morning, but still, a lot of you guys managed to come. Thank you. Okay, let's get into the problem. I want to make this very conversational, so I'm not just going to keep speaking, which is counter to the topic actually. So um, I'll appreciate if you can all participate by asking questions, come giving comments, analysis, uh, a lot of views, counter views, challenges, and all that. Okay, right. Let's get into the problem. The language and ability. What is that? Yeah. Um, at the outset, let's start with the purpose of language. Um, Maybe that's a good way to start. Um, One way to say think about language is the communication medium, uh, but that's only part of the puzzle. Language is what we language is part of thought. Um, some would say thought is language. I wouldn't travel that far uh, because infants, uh, the newborn, for example, they don't have language, but they have perceptions, very sharp ones. For example, they know who is their mom. the best caregiver for them. I mean, the most secure. They feel secure. And if some stranger happens to touch the infant, they will know, oh, this is a strange fellow. Let me cry very loud. And then the stranger runs away. So at least that's what they know. And they know the smell, touch, uh, voice, uh, in some way, image, blurred image of the mom. And slowly they understand many things. They don't yet speak, but they also get to know everything, including difference between good and bad people. Good in a very security sense, not moral sense. Uh, and they also understand what is the difference between coziness and roughness. Many other judgments. This akka is friendly, uh, that Anna is not so. That kind of thing. Uh, so a lot of habits, judgments, many things are trilingual. But thanks to language, the left side of our brain, uh, Wernicke and Broca, as they say in neuroscience, uh, let's not worry about that. But larger firing of our brain, our body, our connect, our bodies connect with society. Language becomes very rich individually and culturally. Okay, so that's the broad consensus with which I'm going to talk about language and ability. Right. Why ability? That's a and what is ability? Why ability and what is ability? There are many ways to understand this. Um, Let me write this. Uh, is the text message reaching everyone? Is my chat message reaching everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry. Okay, first capacity. Let me write one more word, capability, and the third word. Somebody said um, she did not receive anyone, any message. Okay, okay. Don't worry. I'll speak aloud what I write, and maybe it's not necessary to write these keywords because they are simple ones. So first, capacity, then capability, and then connectivity. Uh, these are the things that that makes ability, that constitutes language. Okay, and connectivity. Okay, right. Uh, Let us establish all the three. First, capacity. Well, I'm raising my hand now, so that means I have a uh, capacity to raise my hand. Well, I take it for granted today that I can raise my hand, but that need not be the case all the time. Suppose I have a frozen shoulder, then I know how hard that might be. I ran into the condition 2 years ago. It's not frozen shoulder exactly, it's wrong gymming. Uh, I had trouble with my shoulder for 1 year. Luckily, due to great physiotherapy interventions, I got my hand, and now I'm totally fine with hands for now. So that's capacity, doing normal things, normal time. Um, Underline the word normal, okay? Uh, and capacity to speak, capacity to walk, capacity to argue, capacity to memorize things, capacity to retrieve uh, keywords. Uh, you go to exam, you commit something in rote memory, but the wretched thing will not come there. But once you come out of the exam room, everything comes back. Yeah, look at that. So capacity is a very elusive notion. It doesn't have to be always handy. It's a kind of a slippery slope. If you're not, you cannot be very sure-footed about it. So that's capacity. Okay. And why language is connected? Well, uh, a series of instructions in the brain. Um, when I raise a hand, maybe um, raising hand with joy. Look at emojis and all that. Um, a simple act of gesture on the emoji declares everything, right? That, well, I'm smiling, I'm joyful, I'm moody, I'm I'm withdrawing, I'm very angry, I'm romantic, all that. Okay, so all that can be conveyed through language. All that is mediated through language. All that begins with a language. So that's why when thinking about ability, one of the parts of the puzzle is capacity. Then capability kya hai? I mean, what is the difference? There is a great difference actually. Capability is capability is Kartika, if somebody raises hand, please alert me. Maybe my screen reader does not always alert me.
Okay,
Uh,
sir. They
yeah.
have all been given permission to talk with you, so they will be able to unmute
Ah,
themselves.
ha, ha, ha. Please feel free to stop me. I'm going to stop anyway in another 5 minutes for uh, um, questions. Uh, I told I'll make it interactive, but I cannot violate my own rule. Uh, so let me just quickly run through capability with you. Well, Professor Amartya Sen got Nobel Prize. Amartya Sen, Mata Nussbaum, and host of other folks uh, in economics and philosophy. Uh, uh, it's not as though capability never existed before Amartya Sen. That's not true. We always had capabilities, but Professor Sen and others managed to uh, bring capability into the heart of discussion about our human behavior, our human language, our capability to uh, live a good life, negotiate living a good life. So, what does it mean? Capability is um our um, propensity to self preservation. For example, I'm giving a loud talk, no, because that is because my mom gave me nice breakfast. Um, uh, and I had good breakfast, cup of coffee. If needed, I'll get some juice sometime later. Look at that. So without her care, I'm unlikely to give a good talk. And without a good night's sleep, you're unlikely to pay attention to what I'm saying. So any fundamental thing, such as uh, nourishment, validation, we all need validation. So after 1.5 hours of conversation, suppose somebody says your talk was total nonsense, I'll feel hurt. So we need some validation. We need minimal comfort, minimal nourishment, minimal connectivity, minimal care to flourish as human beings. That Professor Sen and others call it capability. So, uh, like what I said, without, as they say, army marches on its stomach. Well, we all march on our stomachs, walk and march and sing and uh, minimum things such as validation, food, preservation, care, security. Elderly people require pension, minimal pension at least, so that they live a life of dignity. So these are the bare minimal things for any human to exist, any human to feel good. This is called capability. And that can be mediated to political language, negotiational skills that are embedded in language, rhetorical devices. A lot of students, my student friends are here. They negotiate that by talking aloud, if necessary, go on a strike, or raise objections to wrongful teaching and so on. So that kind of things. So capability, like capacity, is negotiated through language. And finally, my dear friends, connectivity. Well, no man is an island, they said long ago, but no woman, yeah, no one can be an island. And we can sail together, hate each other, argue with each other, or embrace each other, and have friendships and whatnot, alliances, and all that through language. Uh, and that again forms our make abilities different, a spectrum of abilities possible. So these are the fundamental things with which I'm going to juggle around the notion of language and ability. And when I say ability, we can't take it for granted. We all are endowed with different uh, capacities, capabilities, and connectivities. Sometimes we can lack a perceptual sense. For example, I cannot see at all. Some of you may have other limitations, pluses. Uh, um, some of you, some of us are short, some of us are emotionally sensitive, uh, some of us think sharply, some of us have a poor memory, uh, some of us can't hear much. Some of us are good at music but not good at poetry. Some of us are great in poetry but not very shy to talk. Some of us write when we speak through writing. Some of us speak and chat and so on. So these are the diversities with which capacities, capabilities, and connectivities are negotiated. And that is all we are going to discuss about language and ability. So human diversity, basically, somebody who cannot see, somebody who can see, here and not here, that kind of things. One can call it disability, ability, and all that, but let's stick to ability problem. Right. That's what is my intro is all about. Uh, Let me pause. Is there something somebody wants to say at this juncture before we go on? I stop here for a few seconds or a couple of minutes. Is there anyone want to say anything?
So you talked about connectivity, sir. I didn't get that. What exactly did you mean by connectivity, sir?
Okay. Uh, let me, for example, when I write something, suppose I'm writing a note here on the table, I have a reader in mind, and the reader could be me. And if I want that note only to be available only to me, I want that to be hidden from some other person who may be Snoopy. So then I encrypt my file on the computer. Uh, when poets write something, they always want a rasika, uh, 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 someone who would appreciate a piece of poem. Maybe they would, if there is an opportunity. Hey, I have written some poetry. Um, uh, I want to read it aloud. Uh, so take another example. We we uh, uh, I cannot see, but what I can do is connect to people through non-visual modes of communication, such as hearing, touch, um, conversations, and so on. Somebody else, maybe a child, is not too intelligent like adults, but child can, you know, get the adults to listen by throwing tantrums, by her charm, by her special skills to when to cry, when not to cry. So what I am saying with all these examples is uh, new modes of communication develop. For example, we social media is the new form of connectivity in 21st century. That did not exist 30 years ago. 30 years ago, it was about um, letters and emails. Emails were forming. So we always new modalities of communication, newer modalities of expression keep coming into language because we wanted to be connected. We always like to be not withdrawn, but to be validated and connected. Validation comes through connectivity. So nobody wants to be left out. So that is why I use that as a very important component when thinking about language and ability. Um, Sorry, that was a long answer. Did I make myself clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wants to say something, add something? Of course, I can't cover everything and I do not know everything. So please feel to add something, free to add. Okay, let's go further. Um, Let me talk about language's special capacity to name things and people capacity to name themselves in different ways. Here, I'm going to talk about uh, terms used by people about their ability. Uh, look at these terms. I'm going to throw a few terms on the table that have been doing the rounds for last 70 years or 80 years or even 90 years. Look at these words: differently abled, visually challenged, special needs children, Dalits, Harijans, uh, handicap, disability, um, and if you like, some some Tamil words here, um, like andagam, kurudu, all that. So now we have some galaxy of words out there, terms. I'm going to tease them out to talk about the notion of why abilities matter when it comes to political negotiation, existence, diversity, survival, and so on. Uh, let's start with Harijan problem. Harijan. In early uh, 1920s and 10s, for the even 30s, Mahatma Gandhi picked up a few um, low caste people um, for his ashram, many ashrams um, who were in squalor, deprivation, and stigmatized and fallen out of social ethos of any kind. He gave them a bath, gave them good clothing, gave them food, vegetarian, taught them prayers, and gave them charka and gave them dignity. In the process, he also called them Harijans, children of God. Um, Gandhi thought that is the most appropriate thing to do because they require it, um, giving religious flavor to his language. He thought will make untouchability uh, an outdated phenomenon by time because if we appeal to faith, people will listen. Well, that did happen, but only to certain distance. Think about term like Dalit. Dr. Ambedkar, equally educated, who went to London, specialized in law, uh, and was harsh. Uh, I wouldn't say harsh, but sharp critique of uh, religiosities coming into politics. Uh, he was of the view that we need proper emancipatory language coming from communities themselves and not we don't have any nobody has any business to say you are this you are that. The language terms and all that should come from communities themselves. So he led the movement to so that should call themselves Dalits themselves. So we have both Ambedkarite and Gandhian positions still going doing the rounds, and both have different uh, contributions. Uh, uh, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, uh, the term Dalit um, came to capture uh, the consciousness, uh, the will, and self-expression of people who belong to the community, and they began to own it. Okay, I wanted to give this background to talk about terms like uh, differently abled, and it and its difference with some a term like disability. Well, differently abled, the term was coined in 80s and was very popular around the globe, especially in global south, Africa, South America, uh, best parts of Asia, and so on. So it is not just a Tamil concept, if you like. Uh, it won hearts of many caregivers, well-meaning people, people with good intentions, and disabled themselves. Why? Because uh, it was based on the assumption that disability is not the loss of abilities. Everybody has something. Everybody contributes, can contribute something. Uh, Everybody can be validated. It came with that kind of assertive, positive view about it. Okay, so along with it came visually challenged or mobility challenge, hearing impaired or hearing challenged, and th- that kind of terms as well, which gave validation to people who are disabled and their caregivers and their communities and so on. Alas, this also was and is a limited view in many senses of the term, because by naming something, something does not automatically change. You have to do something really emancipatory about it. By calling me visually challenged, things don't change much. Uh, um, I need to be given assistive technology. I need to have a command of my language. It could be any language, my social language, my academic language, my private language, my language of my thoughts, the language of my social connections, connectivities, and so on. So, without changing the real parameters of living, just by some fancy language, things are not going to change at all. So, uh, uh, both the tendencies exist in our understanding of human abilities and their limitations. One, what am I saying? One, uh, we can, uh, one tendency is to give it a milder terminology, uh, make it sound less harsh, make it cozy, comfortable, secure the position, uh, less hard on ourselves. The second position we always take is to confront the reality, confront the bull by its horn, as they say. You call disabled as disabled. Don't give them fancy terms. So, which one is better? The answer is it should come from users themselves. Take the example from feminism. Feminism is a great example. It's true that men and women have to work together to come to a rich understanding of gender equality. But how to do it, how good to do it, which one is more comfortable, which one is, easy on skin, you leave it to women. Uh, Women, listen to women, listen to their experiences, listen to what they do say and what they do not say, and then talk about equality. So that is where I think this debate about special terms about abilities can go. Does that make sense, friends? Um, I just want to scratch the surface about the language of abilities and terminologies connected to it, and then get into real business about what it means in real life, give examples across disabilities and abilities, and then I will stop. Okay, let me pause at this second. Do you have anything to add at this moment? I particularly like my student friends to talk so that we the workshop makes more sense uh, when we have an open conversation.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Sir, I'm Saumya.
yes, Soumya.
Sir, I have a question. You were speaking about Dalits, Harijans, and terms like that. So my
Yeah,
question is, I
yeah.
have seen the textbooks of school children, especially 7th standard, 8th standard children, and
Hmm.
these words are more prominent in their textbook.
Yeah,
Not only these words, also visually handicapped words like that.
yeah.
So, what do you think about it, sir? Because the education system says that it is to make the situation better. What do you think? Does it make the situation really better, or does it makes it worse?
Excellent. Thank you, Soumya. I'm grateful for that question. See, uh, let us start with the role of language. See, one of the feminist struggles has been about the role of language. Uh, uh, when I was growing up, school textbooks never. Man was even in my father's time, my time too. Maybe my students' time things are changing, who are millennials. Man was equated to humanity. Uh, but uh, equating man to humanity is totally incorrect on many fronts because it can see one of the ways to build self-esteem is to make a language your own. So this is why we have nursery rhymes for children. You know what nursery rhymes do to children? It makes them jump. It makes them play. Humpty Dumpty. So that means the children have to do that Humpty Dumpty with their bodies. Uh, we cannot make them memorize the essays. That's stupid. It should be appropriate, age appropriate genre has to be introduced. Likewise, uh, languages make all the difference. Uh, for example, in uh, right from ancient Tamil literature to contemporary Tamil literature, the word kurudu has been used, often with stigmatic effects. Blind people have been, oh, these fellows, what do they know? They only have to, you know, have a begging bowl and go around taking alms. Um, uh, கூன் குருடு செவிடு நீங்கி பெருத்தல் அரிது. Um, I'm not saying Aveyard was bad. No, no, but it's about social milieu. The idea is to uh, build a better social milieu. So when you have institutions named as Handicap Institute, Severed Institute, this and that, they already perpetuate the stigma that people have been already immersed into. That is why people have become sensitive to language and terms. All identity politics, I repeat, all forms of identity politics, whether it is gender, queer, disability, race, caste, sexual orientation, linguistic, all identities have become conscious about words like handicap, this and that. Okay, an interesting caveat. Um, my dear friends, I may use all the right words in the right place, but but I may do opposite in my private life. படிக்கிறது ராமாயணம் இடிக்கிறது பெருமாள் கோயில். My father says you cannot uh, preach one thing and practice another thing. The problem with emphasis on language alone is that it misses the buzz on terms of ethics and intention and moral spheres. I guess my answer would be sensitivity to language is important in school textbooks. Visually handicap is very unacceptable because handicap uh, came with loaded history about marginalization, stigmatization, mendicancy, and so on. It's 100% unacceptable, but the fight should not stop there. The fight should continue about at the realms of intention, at the realms of private, at the realms of moral field, at the realms of ethics, and so on. That's the way to go forward. Does
Thank you
that make
so much,
sense,
sir.
Samya?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was a very elaborate explanation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone who wants to ask anything else? Was there any chat questions?
Sir, um, this is
Yeah,
Akshara. I have a
yes,
question, sir.
yeah,
You spoke about stigmatic or stereotypic difficulties, right?
yeah.
So, to which extent language holds the ability to break these stereotypes, sir? Like, however, however, a person achieve in life, they are still forced to be, uh, stuffed inside the stereotypic things, right? So,
Yeah.
can you speak about it, sir?
Yeah, of course, Takshara. Thank you. Um, See, uh, language, how to fight through language. Let's get into real work. One is that attack the language in which we are raised. So that is where school textbooks become important. Right from first standard to 10th standard or 12th standard, if you hear the word handicap in textbooks and grow up, you're unlikely to be influenced by a college teacher like mine who are going to say, no, hey, that's an outdated word, don't use it. Um, so, school textbooks are the good point to start. Parenting language, parents can be taught, parents can be trained. Parental training is good. And parents, in turn, most of the time we spend not in schools but in our families. Family training, family language is important. Um, and our affiliations. Uh, Very often, all identities work in isolation. Gender politics, they form a group and mind themselves. Queer politics, they form a group and mind themselves. Uh, and Disabled group, they also form another compartment. This kind of compartmentalization may help, but they don't speak to each other. We can't speak about each other's experiences. And lastly, Takshara, I would like to ask to pay attention to multilinguality. In our zest to speak English, write English, and talk English, walk English properly, we also forget the fact that we are surrounded by multilingual ecosystems around us, like Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, all that have very rich histories. I well, English is great, but let that greatness flourish amidst, let that be nativized in, uh, and borrow from uh, the rich linguistic language scope around. So, in that way, you know, attacking language politics on multiple fronts is the way forward. Otherwise, it'll be tokenism. You know what is tokenism? Tokenism is like this. I invite some six of you for dinner table for a conversation about, say, education policy. Abriya, some in the six people, let three people be women. Let us invite one disabled. Let us invite one black. Let us invite one low caste person so that I look great. Oh, all inclusive, yeah, this Hemachandran, very good. That kind of tokenism. You know, the worst enemy against discrimination is tokenism. A lot of educated people do that. Um, we need to break that. And that's the way to fight forward, Akshara. What do you think? Does it make
Yes,
sense?
sir. Yes, sir. Couldn't agree more. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, that looks like uh, a good start. Kartika, do you have anything to ask at this second or add?
Sir, the same question which I asked you 5 years back, sir. What is the appropriate term to use, sir? Is it visual disability, visual impairment, blindness?
All the three are good, Kartika. All the three are good. Okay, let me qualify. Okay, see, um, uh, we are working on accessibility systems in IIT now. So we have started calling students with a disability SWD. Suppose I work for a school, I may call children as special needs children. It depends on what we do with the category. Um, uh, Suppose your aim is to give more facilities, more infrastructure, you are likely to call your college students as students with a disability or students um, um, uh, um, access requirements and so on. Uh, if you want to talk about the amount of visual loss, sight loss, you are more likely to call visual impairment. But if you're politically um, conscious and if you want to do some identity politics or you want to write an academic essay or you want to work on metaphors, symbolism, literary scholarship, you may call them blind. It depends on the context. As long as things are not lethal, as long as uh, terms don't lead to discrimination and stigmatization, as long as they are not intended malevolently, all these three terms are correct, I would assume.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to some reading, some minor reading. Can we? Uh, Kartika, can you kindly put the text that I sent on the chat box for everyone to read? Maybe we'll take 5 minutes reading of that passage, and then let's see what happens after that.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, we'll begin with that. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I have shared it, sir.
I request all of you here to take time off for 5 minutes. It won't take more than 5 minutes to read. Give a quick read, and then we talk about language and ability and interventions. Because at the end of the day, we want to do some real things, right? As teachers and students. I just want to take this as an example and see what we can do. Kindly take 5 minutes off and then we will chat. Is that okay, Kartika?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's a chat. You send it to, I mean, did everyone get it or not?
I sent it to everyone. 1 second. Let me check.
Maybe copy pasting on the chat box may also be okay, I think, Kartika.
See, participants, it has been copy pasted again, but I've also posted it to everyone. But let me try again. Otherwise, I will also post it in your. I will also post it in your WhatsApp group. Takshina, can you confirm that you got that file?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We got it, ma'am.
So yes, thank you.
10:30 we will resume, friends. I mean, we'll take 5 minutes to read. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's 10:30 now. Are you all able to hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Hope you all finished reading. Do you know where this is taken from? Anyone? This is from a famous novel called Curious Incident of Dog in the Nighttime. Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Hayden, Hayden. This this was sold several million copies, literally, and it's famous for one more reason. It is considered an autistic novel, uh, and meaning some powerful representation of the problem of autism. Did I not begin our conversation with notions such as capacity, capability, and connectivity? There is not a better place to start the discussion of it uh, with this uh, excerpt. Do you see something happening in the excerpt? Is there any some peculiarity that you notice, or is there something happening? Anyone want to say something?
Hello, sir.
Yes,
So this is Sahreen. I'm from University of Kashmir.
yes,
Uh, sir, this is basically a police inquiry in which a
yes.
boy is seen upset over the death of a dog,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
the policeman asks him so many questions that he is overtaken by depressions and the empathy that he actually is feeling for the kind of death the dog has met that goes unnoticed somewhere.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tanu. Uh, uh, she said it so well. Uh, let's take it forward. Okay. Um, Tare Zameen Par, lots of films have been. My Name is Khan. Uh, Lots of movies. Well, movies also, you know, take to masala very nicely. We all understand what is masala, meaning a mixture of goodness and nonsense, a mixture of slapstick and truth, a mixture of garbage and evil, and also some uh, nice stuff together. So it's a kind of curious mixture. That's what is masala is in our idiom. So that gets added to, but minus masala, there is something peculiar about autism. But before getting into autism, let's understand human mind. Okay, I'm not going to give a big lecture on human mind. Don't worry. But broadly, it is like this. One way to understand human mind is to say that some minds are flavored by emotions, swings in emotions. Some minds think only logically, only with reason. Okay. Some minds have lot of memory. Uh, my grandma used to, remember what she ate for breakfast some 30 years ago uh, during a particular occasion. So then I used to challenge her saying, how do you know that? How do we know that you are telling truth? Hey, shut up and listen. So that was the answer. But let's consider the following facts. Um, Let me give some more examples. Okay, some minds can uh, handle, uh, uh, say, fractions, even numbers. Uh, by the way, this novel is curiously, chapters are titled in odd numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 11, 15, and not even. Uh, when police inquired, "How old are you?" You are likely to say, "I'm 20-year-old, 17," and so. But you are unlikely to say, "I'm 17-year-old, 3 days, 3 minutes, and 4 seconds." That means police is going to give you a lathi charge. என்னடா என்ன கேலி பண்றியா? Huh? That kind of stuff, right? Uh, let's travel more. Okay. Uh, some minds um, can work like a DVD player. A British woman we hear is supposed to, her mind is supposed to operate like a DVD player. For example, she would, if you ask her, what did you do last Sunday? She would say, I got up at 7:35, 7:39. My dad, we and I had a conversation. 7:47, I was browsing newspaper. 8:30, I felt very tired. Then I spilled coffee. Your most average minds are unlikely, 100% unlikely to record that kind of data in the head. And uh, she found it extremely difficult to handle the profuseness or voluminous of her memory, which worked like a DVD player. So, some business people, uh, just by looking at the suitcase there, uh, they can say, "Oh, this suitcase is going to weigh 41 kgs." And if you measure it, they'll be 100 more or less 100% correct. Some minds have um, work like GPS. Some minds are spatially lost. Uh, some minds um, can recall a song like anything. I'm incapable of uh, recalling any song more than 3 lines, but I'm good at recalling melody, the tonality of the music. Uh, well, good means what? I'm comfortable. Okay. So what is this happening? Uh, I'm going to write a word, neurodiversity. One does not need a space in between. Basically, the notion acknowledges that all our minds work differently. All our minds work differently. Sometimes somebody's mind works like a DVD player. Some minds work like a volcano of emotions. Some minds are very imaginative. Some minds are given to reason, and so on. Why this topic should matter? Well, um, thanks to such acknowledgement, we can now say, well, there is no one way of imagining this world. This autistic novel, uh, what is autism? Well, autism is a language condition. Okay, autistic minds, many of them have a knack for math, numbers, and so on. But let that not be a stereotype. But it's very common though. Autism is a spectrum. Sometimes acutely autistic people can withdraw, but they may be great computer wizards or composing music. And Mozart was autistic, uh, the great musician. Uh, uh, Sometimes autistic people don't deal with metaphors properly. What is the purpose of metaphor, by the way, friends? It's about metaphors are meant to conceal or add layers to reality. That's the purpose of metaphor. Okay? Autistic people like plain language. Suppose I say I feel bankrupt. Um, some autistic people may not understand that language. Just say, I am running low on bank balance. Um, ability to joke, ability to deal with metaphors, ability to lie. When you come late to the class, you better not say, I got up late today to your teacher. I say, no, no, ma'am, I have a headache. My father was unwell, so therefore I came late. When you have to submit term paper tomorrow and you don't meet the deadline, you say, my computer crashed. You don't say the truth that I didn't feel like doing it. So, ability to lie is a human condition. Autistic people find it difficult to lie. Okay. Uh, uh, don't take it as stereotype, but these are the spectrum of conditions that come with uh, something like autistic novel can reveal a lot about autism. Uh, but you don't have to read novels to understand autism. If your friend is autistic, be good to her or him. Uh, there are different ways of living one life, and there are different minds that go with it. We can uh, do that successfully. Right. Um, well, we have 18 minutes. I wish we could have more time. But um, what I want to say, um, language is a curious phenomenon, and language is the finest invention of humanity, uh, and it's the only finest invention. It has many dimensions. Language is not the stuff merely that is spoken by mouth. We have body language. Um, uh, Deaf people use sign language, and sign language is as rich as vocal language. Uh, 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 Human expressions vary, minds vary, memories vary, and therefore, as teachers and students, it's good to be aware of them and take it forward. Right. Let me open it up for discussions the rest of the 15, 20 minutes, and then I'm most willing to get into details of certain things that have been spoken so far. Thank you. Can we have some friends discussions and comments and all that? I'm willing to chat with you.
Thank you for your enriching speech, sir. I'm sure all the participants are inspired and benefited by your words. Now the session is open for discussions, everyone. I request the participants to use the chat box to post your questions, or feel free to unmute yourself to interact with the resource person.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Sir, so you have explained very nicely, sir. However, I have a small inquisitiveness in terms of knowing this information, as I'm working as a soft skill trainer in rural background engineering college.
Yes, sir.
So improving students' language would be a difficult task for everybody, as they have their own mother tongue influence and all. So could you please add your experience to resolve this, sir?
Kandipa, sir. Uh, Sir, first of all, um, uh, I am also from Tamil medium background. Uh, all entire my school was in Tamil, uh, but I still think that is an asset for me rather than uh, a problem. Uh, you know, these folks, sir, you're dealing with. they'll be very rich in Tamil. So I'm sure you have better expertise than I am, but my hints will be the following three. Uh, don't treat Tamil as interference. Let them speak profusely in the class. Uh, let them also write in Tamil, but ask them to translate what they write themselves. தம்பி நீங்கள் இது தமிழில் எழுதினீங்க பட் இது இங்கிலீஷில் எனக்கு ஒரு பேராகிராஃபில் எழுதி கொடுங்க. You put that in English yourself. அவங்களே அவங்களுக்கு டிரான்ஸ்லேட்டர்ஸா இருக்கிறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு கொடுங்க. You know, translation is the best form of thought. Translation is the best philosophy. Translation is the best form of learning. Suppose I know so much about postmodernism. எங்க பாட்டி வந்து ஒரு எங்க அம்மா ஒரு குட்டி பையன் வந்து அங்கிள் போஸ்ட்மாடர்னிசம்னா என்ன அங்கிள் அப்படின்னு ஒரு தேர்ட் ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் பையன் கேட்டான்னா ஃபிஃப்த் ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் I should be able to translate that whatever nonsense about postmodernism or goodness about postmodernism in three good lines or a story form to a child. இல்ல இல்ல இதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப காம்ப்ளிகேட்டட் தாட்ஸு, இதெல்லாம் பயங்கரமான டிஃபிகல்ட்டி, அதனால தான் என்னால் சொல்ல முடியாதுன்னு. தட்ஸ் நான்சென்ஸ். தட் ஷோஸ் அவர் inflexibility. So, sir, this is all I want to say. Make them translate a lot. That will be a real pragmatic, practical thing too. They themselves discovering newer ways of discovering English. ஒரு ஆசையா ஒரு அன்பா இங்கிலீஷை பார்க்கறதுக்கு ஒரு வாய்ப்பு கிடைக்கும். பயம் இல்லாத அப்ரோச்சும் வரும். ஸோ தட் இஸ் மை ஹிண்ட் சார். ஹோப் தட் வாஸ் யூஸ்ஃபுல்.
ரொம்ப ரொம்ப நன்றி சார், ரொம்ப நன்றி.
தேங்க்யூ சார்.
బేసికల్లీ ఐ ఫ్రమ్ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ సార్, బట్
ఓ அப்படியா?
తమిళ్.
తెలుగు తెలుసు సార్ మాకు. థ్యాంక్ యూ
సార్.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir. I am Madhuri. This is such a wonderful explanation, sir. Today,
thank you, madam.
I am also literature student. I completed my BA. Now I want to join MA. So today I learn new things about literature, modernism, post-modernism, ability, such a poem, news, such a new. But really, I'm very happy to know about the more English. I am taking English tuition also. Sometimes I do grammar mistake, but I thought correct myself. How can I correct the grammar mistake, sir?
Madam, grammar is a devil. I do agree with you. You know, but grammar comes by time, madam. Give it some time. Grammar is great also. Grammar is liberating. கரெக்டான கிராமர் யூஸ் பண்ணா people also respect us. You know, oh, she has a beautiful pen because you get the grammar right. தமிழ் கிராமர்ல இருந்து இங்கிலீஷ் கிராமருக்கு ஷிஃப்ட் ஆகும்போது அதுக்குரிய ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் வரதா செய்யும்.
I am not Indian, sir. I am
okay.
not Indian.
कोई बात नहीं मैडम. You can do it. So what is this is madam, pick up basic books on grammar like singular plural agreement, past present problem, basic tenets, and then keep practicing it. One more method I understood to work was have one or two good friends who will correct grammar you're writing without judgment, harsh judgments. So that will go a long way, madam. But pick up basic books on grammar. Never pick up things like Renan Martin. They can scare you out. Please don't go there.
Okay, sir. Such a wonderful explanation, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
I will correct. Surely, I will correct myself in grammar. Thank
100%.
you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Sir,
Yes, yes.
from what I'm Colin. From actually what I understand by connectivity is that it is targeting a particular audience, right, sir?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so sir, how can we bring capability and capacity into connectivity, sir?
Okay. Madam, these three things at one hand are connected to each other. For example, uh, as I said, some fundamental material things have to be in place. For example, um, let us talk practically. Um, say, um, children have to be given confidence, and not only confidence, they have to be given food, tuition fee waiver, so that our young girl children can come to school and colleges without any problem. So that is capability approach. Capacity is to impart them skill sets. Skill set in what? Like English grammar, mathematical skills, communicate with for abroad people, uh, how to market oneself, fitness in many things. So that is capacity. Third is connectivity. See, connectivity does not come automatically, madam. It is a training. Suppose I speak well, well, I'm trained to do that. So somebody is not speaking well, they need more training. So all these three things go together. That is all I meant.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir,
Good morning. Yeah.
sir, this is Evangeline.
Yes, Evangeline.
Sir, actually, my question is, you said about translation, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, it is actually very difficult to translate some words in English from Tamil to English. For example, when we say "vaal ella saapadu" in Tamil,
Hmm.
so Tamil students will say "vaal ella saapadu, ella saapadu." So, how can we translate in that English? We cannot explain all other things, sir.
Kandipa. Kandipa.
So, what to do, sir? What kind?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, tell English fellows you don't have these words. So I will use varela sapadu and explain what it is in a two, three sentence. That is the goodness thing, no? It's a challenge from shifting to one register to another, hmm? Making one idiom to available in another. R.K. Narayan's novels are notorious for that. Uh, you have to actually pronounce his English sentences like Tamil. Hey, come here. What are you doing there? அங்க என்ன பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க? You have to read no, his writing in the way English would be articulated in Tamil. அது மாதிரி நிறைய nuances translationல இருக்கு. Uh, but I will wait for you to translate Varela Sapad and let me know.
Okay, sir, sure. I'll try.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would like to touch upon the
What is
concept
your
of
name, madam?
Sehrin Niyaz. I'm
Yeah,
from
sure.
University of Kashmir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, I wanted to touch upon the concept of capability. As you said that capability, is it something that comes from outside to an individual? Is it
No,
something
no.
like
It is
that?
part of existence.
Okay.
You can say capability is not the same as skill set, but capability is something to do with existence, like fundamental nourishment, fundamental validation. Suppose I fundamental availability of medicine.
Yes.
Suppose medicine was not available, medical help was not available 7 years ago when I had TB, then I'm unlikely to be here. So it is, as you say, outside, it is correct actually. You are right, Sharanya. It is coming from outside, but it is its availability that matters. Because all these things are not available to everyone in equal proportion, no? Access to medicine, access to good food, access to self-expression. Because self-expression, although we take for granted, actually it is not automatically available for everyone at all times. Maybe I'm born into a family which is rude and nasty. Maybe, therefore, my self expression was scuttled until 18. I went to college. Then I find it very hard to mingle with others because I grew up with my self expression scuttled. So, self expression is capability, not capacity. Capacity is building accents, hmm, building grammar, building certain skill sets about communication, marketing, and all that comes under capacity. So that is what I meant, Sharon.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
yeah, yeah.
Sir, can you please share your mail ID, sir? Like some
Yeah,
of
of course. Katika, can you leave it on the chat box?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
so I hope your doubts are cleared. Considering that, let's end our session by inviting Ms. Kartika, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, to deliver the oath of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, good morning, everyone. And I would like to start with thanking RGNIYD, that is Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, for giving us this opportunity to conduct an FTP program like this. And I would also like to thank our college management for guiding us through this entire process and helping us in conducting this program as well. Now, and I would like to thank Dr. Hemachandran for accepting and delivering a wonderful lecture to us on language and ability. By looking at the kind of interaction that we are having now, I believe like he has reached out to all of us, and as he rightly gave a kind of suggestion in between itself, he may use all the right words, but there is a kind of a meaning beyond it. Maybe a few of our learners could not get it because they are not into it. And for those people, I would say like to know more about ability and concepts like capacity, capability, and connectivity, you should definitely go and enroll in a course in NPTEL, which is offered by SIR. And it's a wonderful course where you also get to know about a lot of areas, especially ELT as well, that I mean, English language teaching as well. Initially, when I joined that course, I thought disability studies is something which is related only to literature, but it is a purely interdisciplinary course, so which actually gives you a lot of idea, and you would become a much better teacher to your all your learners as well. And coming to the speech, of course, we were able to, thank you so much, sir. We were able to understand how capacity, capability, and connectivity is so interconnected, and how we negotiate all these things through language as such. And you also made us conscious of the fact that language has the capacity to name a lot of things. And of course, it is also challenging in the sense because it's sometimes stigmatizes a section of society, and we also carry it along. And it made us all reflect that of how fancy languages may not improve the standard of living for a few people, but we just go on just by using certain tokenism in our day-to-day life, which we should attack. As you rightly said, use the word, we should attack the language in which we are growing in. So it was really a great, wonderful speech, sir. And we were also able to understand how the identity politics that comes about with language. Even when you said the topic initially, language and ability, and I was wondering how it's going to be. And as usual, like you actually bring in a lot of it within that particular aspect itself. And we also understood that that's a kind of, when you talk about ability, that it is not one particular kind of ability, that's a kind of spectrum of ability that you are talking about, and then the diversity of the entire humanity as well, and the neurodiversity that you were rightly talking about as well here. So thank you so much, sir. I would like to take this opportunity, and I am really glad, and we are all honored to have you here amidst us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Kartika. As usual, yeah, you're warm and kind. Uh, friends, it's good to spend part of the weekend with all of you. Uh, yeah, reach out to me. You're welcome. And there's a chat message about yeah, the course is called Literary and Cultural Disability Studies. It's going to be reoffered again. Maybe Kartika, you can put it on the chat box. And the one that ran the introductory course on disability studies, it's all already available on YouTube and so on. Thank you, friends. Will be in touch. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I have shared your mail ID as well as the course name as well.
Sure. Take care, all
Thank you.
of you. Bye bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Before
Thank
we
you, sir.
adjourn from this session, we request the participants to fill out the feedback forms to get your certificates. The link is in the chat box. And now let's take a break and meet in the next session by Dr. Lata Rajendran on assistive technology used by learners with hearing impairment at 11:20 a.m. Thank you, everyone. Have a fruitful day.